Well, hey folks, Fat Guy Flies RC. Well, finally got everything I needed to get the FMS P-47 Thunderbolt up and running again. And of course, it's like super windy, but that's normal. Got a new motor in the mail. The old motor had a bad magnet. I tested ESC, was fine. Tested with a new motor. She purrs like a kitten now. Problem is, when I got the new motor, it didn't come with a motor mount. So I said, well, no big deal. I'll just take the motor mount off the old motor. Well, someone at FMS, in their infinite stupidity, decided to cook one of them bolts on there with a whole bottle of Loctite or something. I could not get that motor or that motor mount bolt to come out of there. Went through 3 screwdrivers, heated up, used liquid wrench, could not get it to break. So I ended up having just to buy a new motor mount, so I had to wait another 2 weeks for that to come in. So finally we get to take her up again, and I want you to, if you can hear it over the wind, I want you to watch the maiden flight. Hear it? And then listen to this motor now. I'm going to move her in closer. Okay? I want you to listen to this motor now. There ain't no vibration now. None.
Safe to approach.
But the only thing I gotta deal with now is this crazy wind. But that's normal here at Fat Guy Flies RC. If I can get her turned around here. Probably won't need takeoff flaps. Alright, let me block the sun for camera precious. Okay.
Step back just a touch.
Okay, alright. But it is windy. Got the AS3X running right now in my high rates. All right.
Timer reset.
Oh dear Lord, be with me. Here we go. 8.5 minute timer. I do remember how good this thing is on time. Gotta stay on that rudder.
The gear is coming down. The gear is tucked away.
We actually do have a few clouds today. A little bit of down elevator needed.
Time remaining 8 minutes.
A little left aileron. Just a touch of more down elevator. She's good. Little left aileron, a little bit of down elevator. She's flying pretty good now. All right. Let's lower her down just a little bit. Boy, you gotta understand, she's getting rocked around, but then again, it is super windy.
The gear is coming down. Time remaining 7 minutes.
All right. Oh yeah, such a well-behaved warbird, even in this crazy wind. Honey, if you would, pan over to your right and show them the flags that I'm dealing with right now. Thank you. Now if I gotta keep that tail planted, don't be in a hurry. Hope that wind won't flip her over. but she's heavy enough. And I gave up on the drop tank. That little bit of foam that holds that drop tank on that railing system, I just gave up on it. I had to glue it back. I broke it twice in the man cave. I'm like, well, the heck with it. So, this is where I'm glad she's heavy. Alright. Alright. Let's give her another shot here. Remember, stay on that rudder.
The gear is tucked away. Time remaining.
Take it up.
Minutes.
Beautiful plane. Gonna come right back at us now. Oh, hardly any pressure needed to maintain inverted. Man, this wind is relentless today. Absolutely relentless. All right, we're going to take it up. Now she'll snap roll.
The gear is coming down.
Okay.
Time remaining 5 minutes.
Look how that wind just whips that tail around. Fly by dirty there. I'm at half throttle just to maintain enough forward momentum. That was a mistake, and I made the most of it.
Time remaining 4 minutes.
Yeah, it is so crazy windy today. Crazy windy. But she's handling it. I tell you, I don't think I'm capable of having a calm day anymore. It's always this horrible wind, but that's okay. We can deal with it. Stay on that rudder, stay on that rudder. There we go. There, touch and go there.
Time remaining 3 minutes. The gear is tucked away.
All right. Bring her back by us again. Bring her down kind of low. That poor AS3X is saying, why you hate me? Why do you hate me so? Working overtime with this wind. But she looks good. Take her up. Let's give her a snap roll. There we go. All right.
The gear is coming down.
Let's see if we can't pull off another touch and go. I can see my gear is down. Lined up with the runway. Lined up with that center line the best I can. There we go. You're just feeling for that right pocket of air to set her down. All right. Definitely not a flap day. All right. Let her settle in now. Settle in on that rudder, on that throttle. There we go. This is where using wind as your friend to help slow you down, because this is a heavy model and she carries a lot of weight. Maybe I can have enough purchase on that tail to turn her. Don't be in a hurry. With a tail dragger, do not be in a hurry. Now that angle of that plane is facing into the wind downward, acting like a ramp, helping keeping that tail planted. It's where the danger is when you're turning against the wind. Don't be in a hurry. All right, let's get her turned here. And we'll take her back to the bench and we'll talk about her and all the rates and everything. Because even though I've got a minute on the timer left, I'm ready to get out of this wind.
Prop is secured.
All right,
Safe to approach.
Let's take it back to the bench and we'll get you a battery report and go over all the settings. All righty, we're back to show you. Boy, it's got some strong magnets there. Show you my battery placement. It goes in that tray and there's a little hoop there you put your finger through and just, well, if I can get my finger in there. All right, and then you pull that tray out and you can see that's where she CG's at pretty good. Put your 5000 6S even with that tray. Okay, now we flew for a full basically 7 minutes and 28 seconds. Okay, and we still have 68% left. 68% after flying for basically 7.5 minutes. I'm trying to lean over this table here. Make sure you line that up and you're hear an audible click. And you'll definitely feel it. But listen closely. Hear that little pop? That's it popping back into place. Okay? Let's go over our settings. Now that I've given you a battery report. Before we go any further, we'll go over settings in a second. I want to talk about CG on this plane. I'm sorry, I'll have the numbers in the description of the video, but to give you a landmark, checking CG from underside is inside the wheel well. So very hard to show, but on the top side, you'll see the panel line and see my finger right there. So basically about a full finger length in from the leading edge. Okay, now I'm trying not to drop the model with this wind, but she CG's pretty darn good right there, almost perfectly level. And but that same mark is inside that wheel well and real hard to it's a curved surface, so it's really hard to you know, real quick, since we got it up, take a look at this beautiful gear. If I can keep the model from flying away from me. Okay. See, that tail wheel goes up instantly. Could you see the tail wheel? Huh? All right, let me get down here. Okay, look at the tail wheel, how quickly it works. See? That's pretty cool. It's a big plane. All right, let's go over our settings. It is windy today. I put these wheels in its grooves of this table and it kind of holds her in place. All right, obviously I've got the prop off because this thing would cut you bad if not, you know, cut something off. All right, did not use flap settings, but let's go ahead and go over it. There's no mix needed. Flaps up are a negative 100%. Takeoff flaps.
Takeoff flaps
Are negative 50%, And landing flaps are just 0%. 2-second deployment. So 0 for landing,
Takeoff flaps.
-50 for takeoff,
Flaps up.
and -100 for flaps up. Very easy to remember. No mix was needed, because on the maiden I worked that out that I didn't need flap mix because it was a nice calm morning. The rates that I just flew were my high rates. Real simple: 100% throws, 30% expo on the aileron and the elevator, with the rudder being 50% expo. I don't want to mess up that tail wheel. 50% expo with 100% throws on the rudder. All right. AS3X settings are pretty simple. If I remember right, I've got them at one-time gains, and they're by the stock settings of on roll, pitch, and yaw, 40, 50, and 60. Priority at 140, all on roll, pitch, and yaw. Stop lock, roll, pitch, and yaw at 35. Release rate 55, 55, 75 on roll, pitch, and yaw. One-time gain, obviously not a nose wheel gyro, tail wheel instead. And I don't believe, I guess you could do a nose wheel gyro, but I guess in a way you'd have to reverse it. I don't, that's my logic on there. Since it's not in the front, I guess you could, but you'd have to identify that tail wheel servo that controls the tail wheel, and it has to have its own open channel. I'm going to assume you could, but you would reverse the normal settings than what you would do if it was a nose wheel. So that's just what I'm thinking, but I don't have a problem with it the way it is, and I don't have an open channel anyways. I have an AR631 Spectrum receiver. Now the plane does come with thrust reverse, but I would need it doesn't have a smart ESC, so I need a physical channel for that thrust reverse to work. But it doesn't need, I mean, yes, it would probably be good in them longer rollouts when I don't have any wind to fly into, but then again, I wasn't able to use the flaps today. So I really, you know, kind of a trade-off there. I can maybe give thrust reverse and give up flaps, you know, but I'd rather just use flaps. So they have, because they have more uses than just landing. You can use them up in the sky and do some stuff with them. So anyways, well, there you go, folks. That is the P-47 1.5 meter. Let me get around here on the other side of this table. Whoa, 1.5 meter P-47 Thunderbolt from FMS. And you know, I was all happy because she was on, got her for $379 on Amazon. And normally she's like 500 and something, but, or 489 or something like that. And I ended up spending that and shipping and a new motor and a motor mount anyway, so I really didn't save any money. All right, well, there you go. Thank you so much for watching, folks. God bless each and every one of y'all. God is good. And don't forget, faith, family, and friends, and then World War II Thunderbolts, P-47. Bye, y'all.